All right, hello my children. So today's video is going to be very quick. I'm just going to show you how to change over scenes and then set up a spawn point for each room so the player can appear exactly where you want them to. All right, as you can see, there's the example. Let's get into it. All right, ignore some of the stuff here. It's not important. It's just for the next video. So here, I got a root. That is the root of the level. I got walls. That's the tile map. That sets up the walls and all that other good jazz. The only ones that are important is the door transition and the spawn points. So as you can see here, the door transition, it has, it's its own little scene here, which all it is an area 2D and a collision shape. And then as you can see here, it has two little export variables over here. I'll show you how exactly what those are going to do here in a minute. But those are within the code. And then I have a spawn point. And all the spawn point is just holding all the spawn points within the level itself that I want to go to. Then here I have the second one, pretty much set up the exact same way. The only difference is that this one doesn't have a player. I will show you how to account for that when you're doing your transitions. And then again, we have another door transition. So we are going to open up the script here. This door transition, like I said, is an area 2D. All it has is a enter body signal. Let's open this up bigger. And then when something enters the collision shape, it's going to look and see if it's the player, and then it's going to do some stuff. Anyway, so now that we have all that set up, actually, I think I can just go right into the actual code itself. So as I was saying before, we have an export file here, and this is going to be looking for the scene files, variable room transition. So what this is doing here, as you see, room transition, this is just allowing us to choose any file, scene, or any TSCN file that we have here. And once we select it, that's going to be the room that this thing is going to take us to. So, and then next after that, we're gonna tell it what spawn point we need it to enter to. So let's say, for example, they were going, well, I mean, you understand. So if they enter this door, they're going to spawn out to the other side. So this spawn point here is where you want them to enter or to appear at in the next room. It's not this room that we're currently in. It's the next room. So that's what that is. So as you can see here, I have an export variable spawn point, and then we have the string. That is the name of whatever spawn point, as you can see right here, that we called. And that spawn point is a node 2D, which has its own global position that we'll use during the spawn point, during the spawn transition. Anyway, next up we have the @onReady variable. We have load player. This is just grabbing the player scene. That way, when we enter a room that doesn't have a player, like this one here, it will spawn the player in for us. So anyway, when the player enters the door or the area 2D collision, it's going to look to see and make sure that there is a spot that this place can go to. So it's going to make sure that this room transition is populated with something. And then after that, it's going to check to see if the group or if the body is within the group player. So this identifies if it's the player or not. So it's just like a little tag. And if these two are true, it's going to run the code. So here we have variable room, load room transition. All this is doing, it's grabbing whatever room that we told it to, and it's just loading into the scene. Or loading into memory, excuse me. And then after that, we need to instantiate it so we can form an object or create the object itself. That way we can add it to the scene. Then after that, we have spawn, not the character. But this variable here is going to take that new room. It's going to look within that room, and it's going to look for the spawn points right there. And then after that, it's going to look for the child, the spawn point. And that's going to be the names of any of the spawn points that are within here. Right now I have just enter room. So as you can see here, there's a string, and that string is just going to be the name of whatever spawn point we told it to with. Next up, we have the old room here is get tree, get the current scene. The reason why we want this variable is because once we're done entering the new room and setting up the player, we just want to get rid of the old room. So this is just to make sure we have a reference to which the scene that we're currently in. Then after that, we're going to make sure that once all this is done, we just give it a moment to process all that data. That way we can move on to adding the room to the scene. So here, okay, then we have here, down here, you see the enter new room. This is the parameter that we just passed in. We have get tree.root.add child new room. This is just going to add the room to the scene itself. And then after that, we need a reference to that, or we'll need to make sure that the current scene is no longer, because we have a reference to the old room, and we want a reference to the new room. That way, when we clear out the old room, we still have the new room saved for us, if that makes sense. Then after that, we need to set up the player. So here we have the new room, current spawn point. As you can see here, we have the setup player. We're getting the new room that we just instantiated, and then we're looking for the spawn point that we specified here. So here we have variable player in room is equal to new room dot get node or null player. So all this is doing is when the room is loaded, it's going to look and see if it can find player. Then after that, we have if player in room is equal to null, meaning if there is no player at all within the room, we're going to create one. So we have new player, load player.instantiate, and this load player is right up here from the preload that I told you that we had written earlier. And then we're going to instantiate it. So now it's in memory, and then after that, we want to add it to the scene. So we want to add it to the new room. So here we have new room.add child, and then we have the player. And that's why we made sure that the current scene was the new room. Then after that, we're going to take the player's position that it's currently at, and we're going to set it to that spawn point. And then if we already have a player within the room, then there's no need to add it. So it's going to skip all this code here, and it's just going to take the player that's within that room, and it's just going to place it into whatever spawn point that we gave it. And then that's going to be that. So as I said earlier, let's say you had multiple spawn points, for example. I'm just going to make this local, and I'm just going to D here, and we're just going to call this. So we're going to take this here, move this one up here, and then we'll take this one here and move it over here. Hold on, I've got to make sure that the player can be seen. Okay. So as I said before, this transition, this one is going to be to wherever the other, whatever the other room is. So wherever we want the player to spawn within the next room, that's where this needs to go. So this isn't this spawn point has nothing to do with this room. It has to do with the next room. So if you can see here, we have other two. So he shouldn't appear. He shouldn't appear at this door anymore. He should appear at this corner. As you can see here, I'm going to go through this door here. Normal as usual. And then over here, he pops over here instead. So as you can see here, super flexible. Let's say if we want him to go to other instead. Same dealio. Goes here, out that door, and he appears up here now. So now you can see exactly how powerful this is. If you have multiple different spawn points within an area, so let's say this was a town instead, you now can spawn this, or you can set as many spawn points as you need for that particular level. And as long as you have a spawn point like this, just a little door transition, it is all gravy. All right, like I said, super quick video. I'm going to try to finish off the puzzle box. I promised that like 10 months ago, and I never got to it. I'm going to start doing that right now. But that ends this video. Hopefully you learned something. And until next time, my children, farewell.